Okay guys, I'm going to be out today obviously, so I'm going to do the math lesson this way. Shouldn't take you very long. And then you'll move on to your workbook pages and you'll do that all together, and then you'll have your independent work time. Please make sure when you have your independent work time you turn in your 1.6, which is what we're working on today, I believe. And yes, 1.6, and then if you have not finished your quick check assessment that is in the red vertical filing system, that needs to be done, and then you may go on to Prodigy, okay? But also making sure everything is taken care of. I know Prodigy is fun, but also you're not totally being graded on Prodigy, which you kind of are, but that quick check assessment must be done. All right, so get out your spirals, and we're going to do, this is just a quick lesson about estimating. We're adding and subtracting with decimals. Okay? The biggest thing is that you are rounding without rules. There's no rules when you're estimating. It's just whatever makes sense, which making compatible numbers. So you want to make compatible numbers. So when you're doing this, just thinking that, again, working with zeros is the easiest. We know that. It's so much easier to count money when you just have dollar bills instead of all of your change. So think money. Think of your benchmark numbers. I know that you've talked about benchmark numbers. You should also be writing this down in your spiral. So I think of money when I think of benchmark numbers, okay? So the easiest is to count quarters, right? So you get 25 cents, and 2 quarters would be 50 cents. There's using a zero. It's always easier to use a zero. And 3 quarters would be 75 cents. Okay, so that's always the easiest thing to count when you're counting or you're using decimals is quarters. So you would be using those kind of benchmark numbers. Okay, so again, it's just rounding without rules. You want to be able to solve all of these math problems within about 5 to 6 seconds. Okay, if you're having to carry and to do this and just subtract and borrow, you're not estimating with good enough numbers. So you need to make sure that you're using numbers that you have zeros at the end and that it is easy to add or subtract. Okay, so what you're going to do is you're going to think about this number. So the number 3 7/8. Okay, you want to go ahead and think of all the different ways that you can write that number. Okay, obviously the first one is the easiest one, is the whole number. The fastest is 4. That's about 4. You could even say this to yourself as money, $3.78. That's closest to $4, okay? So if I were to use a benchmark number, again, going back to those benchmark numbers, again, 25, 50, 75, which one of those is going to be the fastest or the easiest one to use, okay? It's going to be, it's going to be 3 75 hundredths. Okay. Now, as far as true rounding, if you wanted to make it true rounding, we would look at our neighbor from the tenths. We would look at our neighbor, and our 8 is going to make our 7 stay the same or move up. It's going to move up. So, again, last but not least. So that's what I'm saying when I'm saying rounding those numbers. Okay. There's no rules. I didn't say rounding to the nearest tenth. I didn't say round it to the nearest whole. Okay. I said just make it quick. Okay. So when you're taking this number, so let's take that 3 78 hundredths, 3 78 hundredths, and I'm going to add it to 1 20 hundredths. Again, you want to be able to quickly be able to add this. This is sometimes can be a little bit too much when you're sitting there doing this, okay? So you want to then think to yourself, again, please writing this down, so everybody should have written this down. You're going to come over here to yourself. Again, I could have used what numbers? The fastest would be 4, okay? 1 20 hundredths. What is 1 20 hundredths? If I'm rounding this to the nearest whole number, then I need to round this to the nearest whole number, okay? So you're going to want to round this to the nearest whole number, which would be 1. 4 plus 1 is 5. Now, obviously, when you're going that far away from the original answer, that is not going to be the most precise, okay? So if you want to do and you want to get closer to the actual answer, then take this and use this benchmark numbers. 3 and 78 hundredths is going to be closest to, again, your benchmark numbers are 1/4, 2/4, 3/4. So 3 and 78 hundredths is closest to 75 hundredths, okay? So you would say 3 and 75 hundredths. You're only 3 hundredths away from the actual answer, whereas you are, what, 22 away from the actual answer when you're doing it this way? Okay, so then what benchmark numbers would work here? You're right, 1 and 25 hundredths. Thank you for writing this in your spiral. We're like literally one problem away. This is how quick this lesson is. And then you can quickly add. You know that 3/4 plus 1/4 is 4/4, okay? Sorry, 5. Happens to be exactly the same, okay? All right, last one, truly, okay? Let's do 19 and 43 hundredths plus 2 and 16 hundredths, okay? So now, again, two things. Again, you want to be quick, okay? So I would say benchmark numbers or whole numbers. So let's do benchmark numbers first. Sorry, benchmark numbers first. Is this closest to, again, your benchmark numbers are 1/4, 2/4, and 3/4, okay? What is that closest to? 43 cents is closest to 50 cents. So it would be 19 and 50 cents, okay? $2.16 is, now, some of you might be in your head thinking, ooh, is it closer to 25 cents, or is it closest to $2.25 or $2 even? Honestly, it doesn't matter. You're right either way, because I'm saying about. $2.16 is about $2. It's closer to $2 than it is to $3, okay? So you could say $2, or you could say $2.25. Again, benchmark numbers, because it's so easy to count with quarters, okay? Let's do, for all intents and purposes, let's do this, okay? 2/4 plus 1/4 is 3/4. That's 75. I'm literally doing this. 21 and 75 hundredths. Okay? Whole numbers. I could round this to 20. 19 can be rounded to 20. $2.16. Again, thinking money. Or 2 and 16 hundredths is closest to 2. What's 20 plus 2? 22. Again, not off from my actual answer. Okay? So when you're doing this today, you have a choice. Do you want to use benchmark numbers or do you want to use whole numbers? So again, it's all about estimating. You're not getting a precise answer. Again, if you're counting with your fingers and carrying and things like that, you're using too smaller numbers. You want to use bigger numbers, easier numbers. Again, with the zeros is the easiest thing to add with, okay? Again, the subtracting is the same thing. So for an example, 10 and 39 hundredths minus 4 and 28 hundredths, okay? Go ahead and write that down. And I want you to pick whatever number you have as I'm writing. So go ahead and solve that. And I'm going to be writing 2 different options for you. Okay? Simple, 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 simple. 2/4 plus 1/4 is 3/4. See, I didn't even have to sit there and go 0 plus 5 is 5. 5 plus 2 is 7. I didn't. 2/4 plus 1/4 is 3/4, which I know automatically is 75 hundredths. Okay? So at this point, this is what it looks like. Something I feel like it's pretty easy. If you have questions, please raise your hand and ask. So we're about to pass out the worksheet, and we're going to do some things together. And then you'll be able to do your independent work.